Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, ciao, bonjour, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hey, my name is Jedley, and this is Reading with Your Kids. Welcome to the show. We're coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville, located in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted and so very honored that you are joining us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. We do that by sharing fun, thoughtful, and thought-provoking conversations with fascinating people who just happen to be writing books for kids of all ages. You can join us in our mission by telling all of your family and friends about the show and letting them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Amazon Music, Podcast Addict, Audible, CastBox, Player FM. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. Three amazing guests here today. First up, Stacy Padula and Brett Gunning are here to celebrate book number 6 in their On the Right Path book series. Stacy's been on the show before, and Brett is a former NBA coach. Later in the show, we'll be meeting actor David Farkas. He is here to celebrate Delilah and the Missing Curtains. Imagine a time before time, when light first touched the world and the animals roamed wild and free. The Day Time Began is a breathtaking picture book that retells the biblical story of creation with vibrant rhyme and rich full-page illustrations. Perfect for ages 2 to 8, this keepsake book features over 160 realistic animals and an online animal ID guide so kids can learn as they explore. With bonus classroom resources and an acted-out story motions online, this book is a gift that brings the beauty of God's creation to life. Give your child a story that stirs up hope in a good and gracious God. The Day Time Began. Available now at thedaytimebegan.com.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
855-325-1823. 855-325-1823. That's 855-325-1823.
Before we invite our guests into the studio, I would love to invite you to visit a very special website. It's clownswithoutborders.org. Clownswithoutborders.org. This is a group that I absolutely adore. I am part of Clowns Without Borders, and I had the honor of being part of the 2023 tour of El Salvador. I had so much fun joining with artists from all over the world to bring a smile to people who really needed it and really appreciated it too. And we would love for you to join us as a monthly Joy Maker. The Joy Makers, they're a family of people just like you who love to laugh and make other people feel good. So please take a moment and visit clownswithoutborders.org and consider joining me as a Joy Maker. I am really excited. We are about to celebrate a great book series for kids. We're celebrating book 6 of the On the Right Path book series. First, joining us from the great state of Texas, Coach Brett Gunning. Hey, Coach, how are you?
Oh, great to be here. I wish I was enjoying some of your spring weather. We're going to have a high today of 96 here in the beautiful state of Texas.
Well, our other guest Stacy Padula is here, and she can tell you, Coach, that it ain't so nice here in Boston today. In cold.
Yeah, no, we're about at like a little over half that right now. Yeah, we're like in the 50s, I think.
So, Rhett, tell us, in addition to writing the book series, you are a driving force behind the On the Right Path mission. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I think my whole passion from the time I was a young kid was the game of basketball. I always had a dream of coaching in the NBA, and have had a incredible 26-year journey of having the opportunity to coach in college, number one, but the last part of my journey was 12 years in the NBA, and I think during that journey, I was fortunate to see hundreds of kind of thousands of different individual journeys of players, and it always kind of struck me like the differences of why does somebody make it versus maybe why does somebody not, or why does somebody make it for a brief time and then they're out of the NBA, or what allows a guy to have a 15-year career, and all of this, it kept coming back to what I saw as the difference was the players that were rooted not only in the basketball fundamentals, but the fundamentals of life, the life skill component, whether that be, are they coachable? Do they take accountability for their actions? Are they resilient? Do they have discipline? And that kind of led me to the creation of a nonprofit organization called On the Right Path. And it's literally just guiding youth on the right path through the game of basketball. But we really focus on a 12-week curriculum we created where we combine a life skill with a basketball skill. And it's rooted in Christian beliefs as well. So we also tie in a Bible verse as well. And I just think it's the combination of the three that allow somebody to reach their maximum potential as a player. We're obviously not a nonprofit trying to develop NBA players. It's, can we help kids reach their potential? And I think it's that combination of skills.
Yeah. I think, Brett, a lot of people don't really give sports enough credit for all the other things it does. It's, yes, can it develop a kid to be a great athlete? Sure. Maybe they'll get a college scholarship. Maybe they'll play professionally, and chances are no, but it's like, but that's not the focus. It's the character building aspect of sports that I think is just wonderful. Kids learn how to pick themselves up after getting knocked down. They learn how to deal with a loss. They learn how to support each other.
It's funny you say that because I have two boys, a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old son, and then I have a 5-year-old daughter. And my 8-year-old, a couple months ago, it was like the second to last game for his basketball season, and game was going back and forth, and it was a nail biter, and the parents are going crazy, and the kids are all nervous, and it happened to be the last possession, and my son had the opportunity to drive the ball to the basket, and here it is, I'm watching it, and I'm just like, I hope for him. I just want him to make the shot so he can experience that feeling of a game winner. And as he shot it, and he missed the shot, and his team lost, and he was devastated. And I remember, like, very quickly after that, I was actually was kind of happy that he missed it, because I was like, man, this could be a great opportunity to teach him that, like, look, you're not going to just win every game. You're not going to make every shot. And I said to him, so I wound up talking to him after about it. And I said to him, I said, look, you're going to make way more game winners than you ever miss in your life. I said, you have to be able to deal with this. And I said, I guarantee you're going to be in that position again at some point in your career, and you're going to make that shot. And literally the next week was the last game of the season, same position. And obviously I didn't have this plan. Same position, drives in, he literally makes the game winner. And again, that'd only be a movie script, but your point of what it develops character wise, for as much as I wanted him to make the shot, I actually wanted to use the opportunity when he missed to teach him, like, because when you're a kid, you just think it's all rosy. It's like, it's not all, you're not going to make it. You're not going to win every game. You're not going to make every shot. And then you can kind of, as you say, you can carry it over into real life stuff. You know, you may not get the job you want the first time. You know, you may not marry the first girl you meet, you know, all these things. And to be able to use the example of sports to teach them real life stuff, as you know, it's a lot easier, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I coached at the high school level for a number of years after I played soccer in high school and college. And at one point I sat down and I was thinking, these kids are spending more time with me than they're spending with their parents and their teachers. You know, they spend an hour with the teacher. They get home. They might spend a couple of hours in the house, but they're probably in their room doing homework. But meanwhile, I'm out here running these guys 4 hours a day.
Yep.
Yeah, incredible. Stacy, how did you get mixed up into this On the Right Path?
Well, it was actually about 5 years ago. Brett reached out to me. He was familiar with me as an author. And actually, David, who you had on the show with me a couple weeks ago about Gripped, is actually Brett's nephew. So David connected Brett to me when Brett had an idea of this book series. He had the idea for the book series and having it go alongside his nonprofit. So he reached out to me about 5 years ago to see if I could help him write it and bring it to fruition and kind of pick my brain. And I loved everything he had to say. I loved the idea of teaching kids life lessons through the game of basketball. So we put our heads down and we hired our illustrator and we got started.
That's great. Yeah, it's incredible. There are certain kids that, you know, we talk about reluctant readers. We've talked about kids who have difficulty in school. But if you have a kid that loves basketball, for example, and you're trying to get them to pay attention to school, you're trying to get them to pick up a book and read, boy, if you can connect what they love with the learning and with the reading, that's a winning combination there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Brett, how did you feel about the book writing process?
It was very cool. You know, I think Stacy has been an amazing partner in this. You know, I think it's as you talk a lot, as you know this as a coach, right? You talk to your players about playing to their strengths, you know, and I think for me, I just tried to give Stacy kind of the vision of what I was hoping to get accomplished in each book, you know, and then she kind of took that, the spirit of it and ran with it. And she did a great job of bringing it all together. And, as she mentioned, we were very fortunate to, partner with an illustrator as well, Maddie, who, her parents were coaches. You know, so she grew up kind of in that sports world, coaching world. So not only was she a fantastic illustrator, but, you know, she understood the dynamics of sports as well. So it was really just an amazing team that we had. And, I think as I said, I just tried to, do my part and I think Stacy ran with it and did an amazing job.
Yeah. So Stacy, tell us a little bit about the series and in particular about book 6. Who are we going to meet in these picture books?
Sure. So the entire series takes place across 1 week. And in the first 5 books, the kids attend a basketball camp where they learn from Coach Pete. And they're learning, you know, they have a thought of the day, a lesson of the day, which they learn how to apply to their basketball skills, but then also afterwards at home or at a pizza parlor or at school or wherever. And what's wonderful about that is we show through all of the books that you can take what you learn on the court and apply it to your everyday life, which Brett and I both feel is what's most important for the kids to get out of these books. So the first 5 books actually cover those lessons. The 6th book is like a reflection on all the fun they had at camp and all the lessons they learned. And then it really drives home the importance of having fun with what you do. So the main characters, in addition to Coach Pete, we actually have 3 siblings named after Brett's kids, and he can actually tell you maybe a little bit about them and how he came up with that. My niece and nephew, Chase and Ella, are in the story. My niece Amani is also in a couple of the books. And then Brett's kid's neighbor, Shy, is another one of the main characters. So all very different personalities, different ages, but learning from Coach Pete and his infinite wisdom.
Awesome. Brett, as Stacy was telling us that the book is set in a basketball camp, I just flashed back. I attended a basketball clinic in the Boston Garden taught by Red Auerbach. And I remember
Wow.
big thing that he did is like, when you're shooting, you have to bend your knees. You have to bend. And boy, nothing else stuck in terms of basketball. I was never a good basketball player, but I always bend my knees when I shoot.
That's well, and again, it's those unique things that we hear as a kid and they carry with us our whole life. A lot of times we say, like, you can't remember what you had for dinner last night, but you remember something when you were 8 years old at a camp, and again, it ties into what you said earlier, these environments of kids playing sports with their friends, at a young age when there's nothing other than just being with your buddies, like there's nothing that beats that. I was very fortunate to be a part of the highest level of sports. And for as great as that was and is, now I'm witnessing my 8-year-old played in the championship of his baseball league this past weekend, and he won the game. Like, the utter simplicity and joy when you're that age versus when you're at the highest level. There's so many other things. There's the pressure, there's the relief, there's the all the different emotions that there's the money involved and the fans and social. I mean, at an 8-year-old, Little League game, you don't have hardly any of that. There's literally just the joy of the only people that are out of their minds are the parents. Like, the kids, it's just them and their buddies, and that purity of the game. As Stacy was saying, we just wanted to kind of have the book set in that simplicity of going to camp with your buddies. And you learn I grew up around a coach who, if you looked at his practice schedule every single day, he would have a thing at the top of the schedule, thought of the day. And he would give us some thought that day. So it was same, you're remembering being at Red Auerbach's camp. For me, I remember being around a legendary coach by the name of Rolly Massimino. And, and every day it was, here's a thought for the day. And you would learn stuff at practice. But a lot of times you'd remember like that thought he gave you, So that's what we're trying to hope with these books, is that they can take away just one thing. And as Stacy mentioned, book 6 was, it was kind of Saturday morning where camp is over. They went 5 days. Now it's Saturday morning. They were kind of bummed out because when you come to the end, when camp is over, you're kind of sad, so they kind of woke up the next morning like, hey, can we go back to camp? And it's over. So they might kind of work their way back to the park, and they explain to their moms, what each kid kind of learned at camp, so that's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah. Boy, I do remember being at the end of the season, especially my senior year in high school, and it's the end of the season, and I'm like, I'm going to miss this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stacy, did you grow up in the sports world with this, or was this something new for you?
So when I was younger, I actually did play basketball. That was one of my favorite sports, one of the few sports that I actually played. And so I love that. But in general, being from Boston, I think it's kind of in our blood to be sports fans. So I'm a Bruins season ticket holder. I'm an avid Patriots fan. I love college football. I mean, I am pretty much all in when it comes to sports. I love being a part of something bigger than myself and just anything that can really unite people around something positive. And sports does that amazingly. So yeah, no, I was all in on this.
Yeah. I just have to get a plug in there. My son played football and wrestled and all that stuff. I mentioned I played soccer. My daughter danced from the time she was 2, and she's 29 now, and she's still dancing. Got to give props to the dancers out there, because they're just as big athletes as anybody playing basketball or football, and they work just as hard. And I think the same. They're learning those life lessons that, pick yourself up when you fall down, and teamwork and all of that. All the things that we're celebrating with the On the Right Path book series.
Brett, do you want to talk about the lessons, sort of like the thoughts of the day, or like the lessons at each book, since they were
Yeah, I'll give an example. I guess one of the ones that stands out is the trying to teach kids about being unselfish, or thinking of others first. So, it's in the setting of camp, and the kids are playing, and somebody drives in for a shot, and instead of passing it because he doesn't really have a good shot, he takes the shot, it gets blocked, and Coach Pete uses that as an opportunity to say, look, if you have a good shot, that's great. But if you don't, and someone else is open, you want to be unselfish. You want to help someone else kind of get a good shot. And so that was kind of the lesson of the day. Well, when camp ends, again, it's set in New York City. So it's one of these things where they're at a park, and now they're kind of walking home. And on the way home, they stop at a pizza parlor to get a little bite to eat. And each kid's having a slice of pizza, and there's one left. And the thought comes up for one of the boys to ask, like, hey, does anybody want the last piece? Instead of just grabbing it, right? As many young kids kind of do. It's like, hey, does somebody else want this? And I believe it was Jasmine or one of the other kids makes the point of like, hey, that's what Coach Pete taught us today, to think of others first, So again, we tried to keep it simple. We're talking about a book series for younger kids, but we wanted them to see the correlation between, like I learned that at camp today, and now here's a real life opportunity to use that same skill when I'm off the court as well. So I think each book we tried to do that kind of similar theme.
Yeah. Stacy, what was the lesson, your favorite lesson from the series?
I really loved the book on forgiveness, and forgiving others, because I think that's just such a crucial thing to be able to do in life, for the betterment of your relationships, but even just for your own peace of mind. So that was a wonderful one. But I do have a soft spot for the one that Brett was just talking about, where I kind of looked at it as like esteeming others more highly than yourself, being unselfish, thinking of others, because I think, that is probably one of the most important things we can really do in life. So yeah, no, they were all, I thought every one of the lessons is important. And I think each lesson, whether it was, the importance of showing respect or, eating healthy and being strong or being coachable, there were just so many different things that come up throughout the stories, even if they weren't the main lesson, but just throughout the stories that I think if I had small children, I would want them to be able to grasp those lessons and apply them on the court, on the field, in the classroom, and definitely at home too.
Well, Brett, now that the series is ended, book 6 is out there, we have to come up with a middle grade series.
Yeah, I just have to try to convince Stacy to hang out with me for another 5 years, and then we'll because it's funny, I haven't mentioned this yet today, but the spirit of this came during COVID. I was sitting on the couch with my middle son, and I literally was reading him a book. It was a dinosaur book, and when I closed the book after reading it to him, I was like, that was an amazing book that taught my son how to be a better friend at the park. at the playground. And I literally felt in my spirit, God saying, like, I want you to do the same thing using the game of basketball. And that's literally where I reached out to David. He connected me to Stacy, and I literally just said, Stacy, like, I want to do it. Would you be interested in partnering on a book series where we just try to, impact younger kids through the game of basketball? But that was literally the spirit of it, where I was like, if this dinosaur book can teach my son how to be a better person, a better friend at the playground, we can certainly use the game of basketball to do the same thing, So, and here we are 5 years later, 6 books in. So as I was saying, if I can convince Stacy to hang out for another 5 years, we'll do another series.
It sounds great. We mentioned that you were working with an incredible illustrator. We should give the illustrator a shout out.
Yeah, Maddie Moore. She's amazing. She's originally from Pennsylvania. Well, I think she's originally from Singapore, but her dad, as Brett mentioned, was a soccer coach. I mean, I think, wasn't he like the country's soccer coach, like that led them to like the World Cup? I mean, something very big. I believe it was Singapore with New Zealand. She's lived all over the place. And then her mom, I believe, is a coach at UPenn. So Maddie's out of Pennsylvania, but she travels the world now, and she's like an adventure guide. So she's illustrating, and then she's using her archaeology degree, to be this adventure guide worldwide. So as we're speaking right now, I don't know if she's in Australia, if she's in Asia, like she's all over the world. I can't keep up.
That's fantastic. Hey, Brett, I'm gonna ask Stacy in a moment where we can go to find out more about the On the Right Path book series, but if people are interested in getting involved with your nonprofit, where should they go to learn more and learn how they can become involved?
Yeah, thank you. We have a nice, easy website to remember, ontherightpath.org. And there they'll find a number of things about things that we're doing, some programs that we're running. We also have an educational website or an educational classroom for kids where they can learn more about the game of basketball, learn from the greats of the game to fundamentals. There's just a lot of resources for kids that are passionate about the game. So this book series is kind of the beginning of the journey we look at, and that now the teaching website as a part of ontherightpath.org kind of takes that next step for them if they're interested in even learning more about the game.
Awesome. And are you offering services just to kids in the Houston area, or are you all over the country?
So we're based in Houston. We have done a number of events throughout the country. I was very fortunate, of all places. Last summer, we went to Indiana and kind of did a 3-city tour of some clinics. One of our last stop was in the beautiful town of French Lick, Indiana, and we actually did a clinic at Larry Bird's high school. Literally, I was taking shots of him on the wall when he was a high school student.
Yeah, I knew that town was familiar. That's
good old French Lick.
Yeah. And Stacy, where can we go to find out more about On the Right Path books and about the other great books that you're involved with?
Oh, sure. Yep. So there are a few places. So our books are available, the usual book retailers, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can learn about them on Brett's website at ontherightpath.org, or our publisher, Briley and Baxter Publications. That website is brileybaxterbooks.com. And on bookshop.org, which helps support local bookstores, there's a whole store set up for Briley and Baxter Publications. So a portion of the proceeds from those books go to support local bookshops, which is a great cause in this world today. And then a portion of the proceeds from all the books go to animal rescues as well. And that's a Briley Baxter thing. And then a portion of a lot of the proceeds go to help support the nonprofit that Brett runs as well.
Wonderful.
So you're always reading for a cause, when you're reading our books.
I love that. I love it. We've had a great time speaking to the driving forces behind the On the Right Path book series. Our guests have been Stacy Padula and Brett Gunning. My friends, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
My friends, if you have ever thought about owning a business that's fun, rewarding, and makes a valuable contribution to kids' education, well, Brooklyn Robot Foundry is calling your name. I recently met Jenny Young. She's the founder of Brooklyn Robot Foundry. And let me tell you, she is incredible. Her passion for getting kids excited about STEAM, that's STEM plus art, it's contagious. I'm telling you. This isn't your average kids program. Brooklyn Robot Foundry is all about hands-on, screen-free STEAM fun. These kids get to build a different robot each class and take it home with them afterwards. Kids love it. Parents are raving about it. And now you can own a franchise and bring this incredible experience to families in your community. Now, this isn't your typical franchise. Brooklyn Robot Foundry is a mobile, flexible business with a deep curriculum that's making a real impact in schools and communities around the country. Franchise owners get a proven curriculum, full training, and support from a passionate team. So what are you waiting for? Please visit bit.ly/RobotJed. That's bit.ly/RobotJed. And let them know you heard about it on Reading with Your Kids.
Have you outgrown your health insurance plan or just not happy with what you're paying for? The number one reason we all change our health insurance is price. Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Would you like to have better coverage at a better rate or at little or no cost to you? Your life needs are always changing, but have you done anything to improve your health insurance for you and your family? Health insurance laws and coverage are always changing and getting better. It's impossible to do all the research yourself, but now it's all done for you for free. So regardless of your age or medical condition, take a few minutes right now and find out if you can save money or even qualify for zero-cost health insurance in your state. Call now.
Paid for by cheaper health insurance. 800-932-1656. 800-932-1656. 800-932-1656. That's 800-932-1656.
Hey, my friends, would you like to bring a little warmth and magic into your home? Let me introduce you to Welsh Mountain Candles, hand-poured on a working Amish farm in Lancaster County. These all-natural, toxin-free candles are made from palm wax with a stunning crystallized glow, rich coconut apricot wax for a creamy finish, and essential oils for a pure, refreshing scent. Whether you're winding down, setting the mood, or just love a great candle, Welsh Mountain Candles are crafted with care and made to be shared. Visit welshmountaincandles.com. Use the promo code JED10 for 10% off your order today. Light up your home with Welsh Mountain Candles, where every candle tells a story. I am very excited to open up this conversation. We're going to be celebrating a great new picture book. It's called Delilah and the Missing Curtains, A Child's Guide to Gratitude and Happiness. Please welcome to the show, David Farkas. Hey, David, how are you?
I'm doing good. I really appreciate you having me.
Delighted to have you on. You know, teaching kids to be grateful is right up my alley. I am so much an advocate for this.
It's huge. It's one of the biggest things that you try to do as a parent, especially as a parent in the United States. You know, maybe in Vietnam, they don't have this problem. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But like with our culture and with the way grandparents are, I don't know, where they just give and give and give, which is great. But it makes it really challenging for parents because the kids have to be grateful. Otherwise, they're not going to grow up to be good adults.
I agree. And I read a book maybe 15 or 20 years ago, and it was, is called Thanks. I'm going to mess up the title, but it was the science behind gratitude or something like that. Anyways, it was really neat to read because all the things that I believed instinctively, that if you live gratefully, you are happier, healthier was proven scientifically. And it's incredible. When you're grateful, you are able to endure pain better than someone who's not grateful. And, to me, I was a young dad at that time. My kids were maybe 10 or 11 years old, something like that. And so it was like, I'm typically one of those obnoxiously happy and positive persons that can really annoy other people because like, hey, yeah, we're down, but we're going to make this better. But it's like to see that there was science behind it. And I just started really preaching that and sharing that message with everybody.
Well, here's a good example of the power of gratitude. You could have a child on Christmas in a modest family get one present, and that kid will just play with that present every day for months and months and just love whatever that is. You know what I mean? Like if it's a car, a train, or whatever. And that kid could just be thrilled, grateful for that one present. You could take another family, and you could have 25 presents under the tree. And after they open the 25th present, the kid's like, where's the next one?
Right. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And that's the power of gratitude, is that if you're not grateful for what you have, then nothing is ever enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. When did you come to that understanding? When was that light bulb moment for you?
Well, it's kind of funny. I credit a lot of my thoughts on happiness to Dennis Prager. Are you familiar with him?
Yep. Very, very much.
So in my 20s and 30s, I was a working actor in Los Angeles. So at that time, nowadays you just shoot your audition at your house and then send it in. It's awesome. But at that time, you had to drive into the auditions. So I was on the road 2, 3, 4 hours a day. And I would listen to Prager. And he really taught me so much clarity on happiness. And actually, his missing tile syndrome is the foundation of Delilah and the Missing Curtains. He has a missing tile syndrome where you have all these tiles on your ceiling, hundreds of tiles, and one's missing. And all you can focus on is that one missing tile, and it's making you unhappy. So it's the bald man where he walks outside and all he sees is men with hair. It's the female in her 30s that wants to get pregnant and all she sees is pregnant women. And it's making them miserable. That's missing tile syndrome.
Okay.
And so that's really what formed my foundations. In fact, the dedication of this book was to Dennis Prager, and it says, who taught me that, his happiness hour starts with happy people make the world better. And unhappy people make it worse. Yeah. And it's true.
So let's jump into Delilah in the Missing Curtain. Tell us a little bit about Delilah and what happens to her.
Sure. So Delilah's an aunt, and she lives in this wonderful little ant community, and she doesn't have anything in her room. They've kind of just moved in. They don't have anything. She's got nothing. There's nothing there, and she's kind of content drawing on her floor. And then one day, the movers come, and they just load her room with stuff, and her room is beautiful. Pictures on the walls, a nice new bed, and a nice chair for her to draw in and brush her hair and all this stuff. But the one thing the movers don't bring is curtains. And so that night, she's crying on her bed. And her mom hears her crying on her bed, and she thinks something's wrong. And then when she talks to her mom about what's going on, the aunt mom kind of comes in and takes her through why her thinking is not correct and where her perspective needs to be in order to not be upset about this. And it's kind of funny because this happened to me and us. This happened with my daughter. I had this similar discussion with my daughter, which sparked, my wife told me after I was done, she's like, that's your next book. And I said, okay. So I wrote it.
Great. Yeah. Going from working Hollywood actor to children's author, that's a journey not many people take. How did you end up on that journey?
I joke around to people as I try to pick the industries that are the most competitive. Right? So I'm working actor, so competitive. Me and my wife, we released a couple albums, music industry, so competitive. I'm like, why not? I'll take the third most competitive business in the world and jump into children's books. In between that, we were both water polo coaches for about 20 years. So for me, I've always, when we wrote music, I'm a creative person at heart. I like writing. Obviously I like rhymes. Mm-hmm. I was always loved writing in college. Fascinated with Shakespeare and the classics. And we had these ideas for these books, me and my wife, and we formed these strong opinions with our coaching. And like I said, with Dennis Prager, and my parents were amazing role models to me and really taught me clarity. And we really think we have something to say, and we think we have a good way of presenting some strong ideas to kids and really help them and their parents, because this really just helps everybody. Mm-hmm. When I read this book, it helps me, to be honest. It kind of frames where I'm at and reminds me, because let's be honest, this is for all of us. It's not like someone's walking around and go, I got this happiness thing taken care of. I'm all set. For me, anyway, it's a daily struggle. Not a struggle necessarily, but a daily habit that you need to develop to be grateful and to be happy. Sometimes, even when you're not feeling that happy, but just to act happy.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a routine or a nightly kind of reflection that you engage in to help with your happiness?
Well, no. The short answer to that is no, I don't. But I like thinking about when I have 3 kids. Mm-hmm. And I think when you have kids, it forces you to think about the big questions in life on a daily basis, because they're always coming up. Mm-hmm. And I used to do this when I was a coach, and I do it now. Whenever I'm talking to the kids, I'm really just talking to me. That's what it feels like. Whatever big life lesson it is, whether it's gratitude, whether it's not quitting, mm-hmm. Whether it's, like the first book we did was on how to lose without throwing a tantrum, mm-hmm. And how to take some of the negative feelings you might have that come with losing, like anger and frustration, and to channel that into something positive, like a work ethic, or getting you to practice to get better, mm-hmm. right? And so I'm really just talking to me. I'm releasing books now. It's like I can't quit, right? I've got to live what I'm talking. Mm-hmm. I've got to push forward. If I get a bad review, I can't let that ruin my day, or I can't let that go to my heart, just like I can't let a great compliment go to my head. All those things. I'm really just talking to me. So I'm always thinking about these things when I'm talking to my kids as they come up. I don't know about you. How many kids do you have?
I have 2. They're adults now.
They're adults. Okay, you're at. But my kids are terrible. Not terrible. They're getting better, but they were pretty bad at losing. Uh-huh. I don't know if you've struggled with that at all. Did you?
We didn't. My daughter was a very talented and very competitive dancer, although, but was never through the tantrums and all that. And my son, football and wrestling, but again, he kind of kept it in perspective, I think.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Interesting. You mentioned you and your wife were water polo coaches. Mm-hmm. That's a fascinating, I've seen it, when it comes on the Olympics, it's a sport I don't understand at all, but it's fun to watch sometimes.
Most people don't understand it. It's because of all the whistles. Uh-huh. There's tons of whistles. The governing board of water polo has not made it easy for spectators to understand. They keep making it more complicated. I think they've messed the game up in the last 5 to 10 years with a bunch of extra rules They're trying to get more goals being scored. They think that's the pathway to getting more spectators. But I really think it's just kind of mucked up the game and makes it confusing. So as someone who plays water polo and has played and has coached it for over 25 years, I totally understand why it's confusing.
Yeah.
I would be confused too. We do have a YouTube channel that we have for water polo players and spectators to make the sport more accessible. So we try to explain that sport to people.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Let's give the channel a plug so I can check it out.
Yeah, it's Shaquatics. So if you just search SH Aquatics, Shaquatics. I used to joke around they were sponsored by Shaquille O'Neal, but we're not. And we just started that channel to help our kids out when we were coaching because we didn't have a lot of time in the pool. And I thought, well, I'll just release some videos for our kids. But what happened was none of the kids that we coached watched the videos, but a lot of other people around the world watched the videos.
Okay. Awesome.
That's what happened. Yeah.
Do you miss acting at all?
I do, and I'm still doing it.
Okay.
It's cool. In California, the last couple of years, I was not doing it. I got so busy with my coaching schedule, but we moved, and I'm auditioning again out here.
Oh.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, you can just, for those of you who want to be working actors, you can just video your audition in the comfort of your own home. You send it in. It's wonderful.
That's great. That's great. And it gets you out of that Los Angeles traffic.
Oh my gosh. I can't tell you, Jed. So it would be like, this would be a typical thing that happened. It would be like 3:00 in the afternoon on a Friday. And I would get a call from my agent and they'd say, I need you in Santa Monica at like 5:30 for an audition or something. And I would say to her, are they serious? Like, this is the only time I can audition for this show? And like legitimate shows too, and you can't pass them up. So yeah, you'd have to get in the car. You're driving to Santa Monica, right? From Orange County is where I live at like 5:00 on a Friday. I mean, that's why I love doing the video auditions. It's just, I can remember all those times in my car, but it did help me, form my opinions on happiness. So I guess in a weird way, I maybe wouldn't be here without those 3-hour, 4-hour car rides.
Yeah. I've only been out to California a couple of times, and once I was out for the Orange County Children's Book Festival, and a buddy of mine lived, I think, down in San Bernardino. And I looked on Waves or Google Maps, and it was like 35, 40 miles away. And I said to my buddy, "Hey, I'll be down there in an hour." And he said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, it's 40 miles. It's Sunday afternoon." I hopped on whatever highway it was, and it told me it was going to take, Waves said it was going to take me 45 minutes. Like, great. And all of a sudden I hit some traffic, and I looked down at Waves, and it's like, oh, you're going to be there in an hour and a half. And I looked down again and said, oh, you're going to be there in 2 hours.
Yeah.
I called my friend. I goes, yeah, I ain't going to meet you there.
It's so funny. When we were moving here, we were told not to move to this place called Eagle because the traffic was so bad. So I didn't even look at Eagle, right? And I was coming home from one of my trips to look at places out here, and I just happened to run into a real estate agent because everybody's a real estate agent out here. It's just exploding. And we just were chatting in the security line at the airport. And I said, we didn't really look at Eagle because of the traffic. She looked at me like I was crazy. She goes, you're from Southern California. I said, yeah. She's like, traffic out here does not correlate to traffic there. And it's true. It's true. It's a whole different ball game. Sundays, Saturdays, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm sure. So now you have something else to be grateful for.
Yes. I am very grateful for, yes. I'm very grateful for Idaho.
What's next for David Farkas? Is there another children's book in the works?
There is. In fact, we're working on it right now. I just finished the proofread. I sent it to a proofreader to get it proofed. And the way we work is we send it to a book designer, and they kind of give us a template. And then Brittany, my wife, that's her time to shine. That's when she gets to work. kind of filling in the pieces and doing her illustrations. So my work on that book is largely done.
Oh, cool.
And I'm so excited about this book. Can I tell you like what it is?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it's a child's guide to perseverance.
Ooh, something we need.
It's I'm so excited about this. It's based on what my parents taught me.
Huh?
And my dad used to always tell me, if I ever said can't, they wouldn't allow me to say can't.
Uh-huh.
He'd always say can't's never could. And that's what the book's about. It's just really, it's cool. This kid has to learn not to say I can't, and to say that I could if I apply myself and really try and work hard. So I'm really excited about it.
Well, I love it. Right after you and I finish chatting, I'm going to be getting together with my niece who drove crazy because when she was younger, she would say, I told her you can't say can't without using the word yet. And it just made her, and she bought it. And, every time she would catch herself saying, I can't, she'd go, yet, I can't do it yet. Okay. All right, Uncle. I know I can't do it yet. And, she has, done great, and she's, in college, and, we're really proud of her. So,
did you come up with that yourself?
I did not. I cannot, take credit for that. We've talked to authors who've written books using that. I think I just heard it somewhere in the ethos. And
perfect.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, we should tell everybody where they can go to find out more about Delilah and the Missing Curtains. Maybe see some of your acting clips and learn more about you.
Well, they can go to davidfarkas.com. That's just my name, David, D-A-V-I-D, Farkas, F-A-R-K-A-S. davidfarkas.com. They can check out my books, our music, my acting clips on there if they want. And the book is going to be on Amazon, available for purchase on May 22nd.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We've had a great time speaking to the author of Delilah and the Missing Curtains. It's a child's guide to gratitude and happiness. Our guest has been David Farkas. Hey, David, thanks so much for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Thank you, Jed. I really appreciate it.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids and will join us for the next exciting episode of the show. Until then, please connect with us on social media, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Reading with Your Kids on Instagram, at GentlyMagic on Twitter. We have a great YouTube channel, youtube.com/readingwithyourkids. And our website, it's a wonderful place to visit, readingwithyourkids.com. Hey, if you're an author, please be sure to visit readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Authors Click Here button up at the top of the page to find out how you can be a guest here on the #1 kids book podcast in the world, Reading with Your Kids. It's fun, it's easy, and it gives you the chance to tell thousands of people all around the world about your fantastic children's book. I want to thank the folks who made today so wonderful, starting with our guest, Stacy Padula and Brett Gunning. Please be sure to check out Book 6 of the On the Right Path book series. And we want to thank David Farkas. Please be sure to check out Delilah and the Missing Curtains. I want to thank my amazing team, Fatima Khan, Chris Doherty, Rory Grady, Stella Sheree. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place. And you do that every time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.